Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you wherever you are in the world. Welcome to my channel. My name is Meg and I am a fully qualified yoga teacher, a beautician and a masseuse. And this is my YouTube channel where I talk a lot about yoga, tips and tricks and things that you guys can follow along from home to strengthen your practice, but also some health and wellness as well. So if that is something that you're interested in, go and hit the subscribe button and it means that every time I post onto this channel, you guys get a notification. I have just done pretty intense arm workout. Been working on creating some strength into the shoulders. It's really important to do this with yoga because obviously we're holding a lot of poses like planks, chaturangas. So I do like to incorporate a bit of weight training into my yoga or when I'm in the gym anyway, just because I feel like it does help me progress in yoga. Don't get me wrong, I don't lift ridiculously heavy or anything like that. It's more to just sort of help and to kind of supplement the process. But yeah, I've just finished my workout. My arms are pretty tired and I am ready to basically just stretch them out. So this is going to be a post-arm workout stretch. So if you're like me and maybe you've just been in the gym and you've been lifting some weights and your arms are tired, maybe you've been swimming and again using your arms a lot, they're tired. Maybe this could even be for someone who's been sitting at a desk even and been using their hands a lot, doing jobs where you're repeatedly doing something, hairdressers for example, with your arms lifted. Basically, if your arms are tired, this is the video for you. You don't really need anything to do this video. I always use a good quality grippy mat onto a hard surface so that it supports my joints properly. But if you're in the gym and you haven't got a mat with you, it's not a complete necessity. It's more important that you do the stretches without a mat than don't do the stretches. So yeah, work with what you've got. I might use a strap as well during this class, but again, not a necessity. You can always use the gym elastic bands, like a towel, like a big towel. You could use a tie or a yoga strap or a Pilates strap. Just see, if you haven't got one, it's really not the end of the world at all. And when you're ready, we will get started. We're gonna start on all fours. And I'm going to give my wrists a good stretch out from here. So placing the hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and maybe just come into some little circles here. So this is similar to how I warm up the wrists, especially at the beginning of my workout. But I do like to do this afterwards as well, just because I like the stretch that I get in the wrists. I'm only going to do a few circles here. But basically, if this feels enough for you, just stick to doing these circles. What we're looking for is a bit of a stretch as you roll forwards into the forearm. And then obviously it kind of loosens off. So the tighter your forearms are, the harder this is going to be. So just take this as it comes, see what feels best for you. Work your way up slowly, keep practicing. And then eventually you'll be able to kind of add on if this feels too much or if this is enough. If not, I'm going to take my inner wrists together, thumbs facing forwards. And just think about creating a cat spine here. So thinking about spreading the shoulder blades apart from each other and lifting through the chest. So you should feel this across the hands, across the forearms, probably into your back as well. But again, you probably have been using the upper back when you've been doing an arm workout, kind of using behind the shoulder blades and things like that. Staying here for a couple more breaths. And then again, maybe this feels good enough for you and maybe that's enough for you. If not, we're going to spin the fingertips to face you. This might be enough, just having the fingertips here, and just listen to your body as well. If it feels too much, just come back to the variation that feels best for you. Maybe coming back to the fingers facing the front and just coming into these circles. Maybe the hands in together. Maybe you can spin the fingertips, but just do what feels best for you. I'm then going to shuffle my weight back just slightly, and I'm keeping my base knuckles down into the mat, so the bottom of my fingertips. So base knuckles running across here. I keep those pressed into the mat, so I'm not lifting all the way up through the fingers. I'm just lifting the wrists. This just makes it a little bit more intense through the wrists and through the forearms. Take a couple more breaths here. And we'll roll forwards. Maybe wriggle those fingers. Ooh. And then I like to stretch through the tops of my wrists. So I'm just going to spread through the hands and take the backs of the hands down into the mat. Keep all of your fingers pressed into the mat, so don't let like your thumbs lift or anything. And again, if this feels enough, you can stay here, or you can start to shuffle the weight back slightly. What we're looking for is a stretch across the top of the hand and the top of the wrist. Couple more breaths here. And roll forwards. Again, roll those hands out if they need it. Perfect. We're going to take this into a bit of a puppy pose, but I'm going to do two different types of puppy poses here. So we're going to start in a tabletop with our hands underneath the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. If you've got a yoga block to hand, this is always really handy for puppy pose, because you then get the correct distance through your hands. If you don't have a block, not the end of the world. Think about keeping the hands the same distance apart as your shoulders. So your hands are always in line with your shoulders as you walk down. So to come into your puppy pose, we're going to lift the tailbone, walk the hands out in front, keep walking them out in front and spreading through the fingertips, and make sure that your hands are staying in line with your shoulders. Your hips stay anchored over your knees, and then bring the chest towards the thighs. Opening up through the arms here, through the shoulders. Long, slow, deep breaths. So this is going to stretch out across underneath the underarms, maybe into the tops of the shoulders as well. If you want a bit more, you can tent up onto your fingers and then try and bring your elbows down in towards the mat. Listen to your body here. We're then going to slightly walk the hands out and away from each other. So I'm going to take mine just slightly wider than the mat and do the same thing again. Try and bring the chest down towards the mat. And this just starts to open up through into the kind of pec area. Give the arms a good stretch out through here. Couple more breaths. We'll walk those hands back so that they're shoulder width apart, and inhale, we'll bring them back in towards you. Maybe you need to roll the shoulders out a little bit here. So you've got a couple of different options for this next stretch. If you've got a wall, it might be beneficial to use a wall to do this next one. If you've got a strap, brilliant. So if you have got a wall, basically we're placing the hand onto the wall and then slowly moving the chest around to get a stretch across the pec. You can do this on the floor as well, so you can basically lay on your front, take the arm out to a T and roll across to get a good stretch across the front of the pec. So if you don't have a strap, do either this variation or against the wall and hold that maybe about 3 breaths on each side. So you'll then swap over and do the other side after a few breaths. If you have got your yoga strap or whatever you're using as a strap, we're going to take it and just have it slightly widen and shoulder width. Bring the arms up and back, push your chest forwards, getting a deep stretch across the hands, cross the arms across the front of the chest. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Breathing here. And some people I find as well, when they do like an arm workout, they will like crunch their toes as they lift things. So if that's you, you can always tuck your toes under and stretch like this, just to make sure that you give your feet a bit of a stretch as well. Few more breaths here. Exhale, we'll bring the hands down Ready to come into our final hand and arm stretch. So we're going to come into a seated position, cross-legged. Spreading through the fingers, we're going to place the hands down into the mat next to you. Keeping up tall through the spine and the hips. We're engaging the core a little bit here to keep you upright. Imagine there's a piece of string running from the base of your spine all the way up through your head, and keep this engagement, keep sitting up tall the whole way through this exercise. So your hands, your palms are pressed down into the mat. You might feel a stretch just from doing this. If you don't, we're walking the hands a little bit further away and pushing them down again. Don't let your shoulders roll forwards. Don't let your shoulders roll back. We want to keep them upright, push down away from the ears, and then pushing through the hands. Spread through the fingertips so you can feel a stretch all the way through the hands, all the way up the arms. You can take the chin in towards the chest, but if you do, just make sure your chest doesn't kind of collapse in and your shoulders don't collapse in. The taller you sit through the body, the harder this is going to be because you're pushing the hands down and getting that stretch there. I love this stretch because I find it's really intense, but it looks really simple. Couple more breaths here. Keep pushing the hands down into the mat. Maybe you can walk them a little bit further away. And let the hands go. I really hope you enjoyed this video. We got a good stretch through the hands, the wrists, the forearms, up all the way into the shoulders, upper back, and into the front of the shoulder as well. So this is a really, really good stretch to incorporate after you've done an arm workout. I always recommend doing this. We use our arms for everything, and when you stretch at the end of a workout, it helps to stop lactic acid buildup. It helps to stop that pain in your DOMS the next day. So this is such a good way to make sure that you can continue to live your life and not have painful arms. The amount of times I've done arm workouts and then the next day, like I'm struggling to lift a cup of tea or something because my hand and my arms are so sore. So this is a really, really good way to just make sure that that lactic acid is flushed out, flushed away. We're helping to prevent injuries. We're improving flexibility. We're improving mobility, which means that when you also come into those movements, when you're like holding weights, for example, you've got more range of motion because you're able to move more and you've got more flexibility in your muscles. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and please subscribe. It means the world to me when you guys support me, liking, sharing, commenting, sending super thanks, whatever it is, it really does mean everything. Even if you just watch these videos, really honestly means so much to me. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I look forward to practicing with you all again soon. Thanks. Bye.